Hello, Devlin here with you, and welcome to another edition of Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. And this is not just any edition. This is a special edition. This is actually my third annual one of doing this. Boy, I've been doing this a while. This is the summer movie preview 2017, where I take a look at this summer's big blockbusters and other summer movies that are going to be hitting theaters. And I always look forward to this. I do my homework. I look for, movies that we've probably seen trailers for over and over again, and new stuff too. And so I try to dig and find some special things. Now, the summer of 2017, you can probably already think of some of those images that you've seen, some trailers you've ever watched. But actually, when I was looking at the list, there's not a lot of huge, there's huge movies coming out. But it's not as jam-packed as some other summers, which sometimes is good, because that means sometimes that's where we get some rare, great films. Like, I can't think of many. Last year, I remember not expecting much from Sing Street, and it became one of my favorite movies of the year. Or Don't Breathe, this horror movie that became this smash in the thing. So this look is going to basically look at most of the major movies coming out, but every once in a while I'll look at a little side one that you might have to search for this summer. May and June are just jam-packed, but I found that July and August are actually just a little bit week, so I'll be talking a lot more in depth about those movies because I'll have more time. Anyhow, basically, I'll break it down like I always do. I'm going to turn this into a real, I like to make these a big movie. The whole episode's about movies. So what I'm going to do is in my first segment, I'm going to take a look at the May and June movies. Then I'm going to take a break, and in my Mondo Nostalgia segment, I'm actually going to talk about some of the old movie theaters that used to be around here in the city when I grew up. And I'm really excited to do that because it made me think of some great memories. And fortunately now we only have a handful of, Silver Cities and big things. But there was a time when we had all these little, small, great, independent little theaters. And there were a lot more before I came along, too, so this is just going to be looking at the ones from, the 70s and 80s. And then in the final segment, I will take a look at the July and August movies. And so let's not waste any more time. Get some popcorn going, get your Milk Duds or your Jujubes or whatever you like to eat at the thing, your nachos, your cotton candy. I don't know what your snack of choice is. Apple strudel, whatever you want, and get yourself a big beverage as well as we take a look at the summer movies coming out 2017. Now, as always, they might change, okay, because sometimes movies get pulled or new movies get put in, but this is the one that's starting, and we're kicking it off just in a few days at May 5th. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is coming out. Guardians was a big surprise hit when it came out a couple of years back, and the whole team's back. Star-Lord, Gamora, Drac, Rocket, Baby Groot, and a whole bunch of other characters returning, like Yondu and Nebula. And Guardians of the Galaxy, when I first saw it, I knew nothing about it, and I fell absolutely loving it. Not only was it my favorite movie of the year, it probably moved into the top 10 of all time. There's something about that movie with its comedy, its drama, its action, its heartfelt scenes. It all came together beautifully, and I'm so looking forward to this movie. It's expected to be one of the big hits of the summer. I can see one other possible movie that might beat it out. But so far, early reviews are kind of saying it's not as good as the first one, but pretty damn close and still damn entertaining. I think the first one just set the bar so high, I can't see how we're not going to enjoy this movie, and I bet you it's going to be in theaters quite a while this summer. On May 12th, we've got a couple of movies opening. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. This is a new Guy Ritchie movie. Guy Ritchie, of course, made movies like Snatch. He also did the Sherlock Holmes movies. and they recently did The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And this is him taking on a sword and sandals kind of movie. It looks a little bit different. It stars Charlie Hunnam, for you fans of Sons of Anarchy, and Jude Law is also in it. I don't know what to think about this movie. I'm probably going to go see it because it looks very interesting, but I don't know if it'll be a hit. Guy Ritchie's movies to me are usually visually exciting, but they don't always win me over. I remember the Sherlock Holmes movies were only just kind of entertaining for me. And this looks interesting and exciting, but I have a feeling this is going to struggle at the box office, but we'll have to wait and see. Snatched is Amy Schumer back on the big screen after her big train wreck movie. This time it's her and Goldie Hawn basically taking adventure in a third world country, I believe, and they get into some trouble, and I don't know if I'll see this. I really like Trainwreck, and I am not one of the ones that hate Amy Schumer. I know some people love her, some people hate her. I thought Trainwreck was an amazingly funny movie. I might give it a shot just because of that. And the trailer didn't look half bad. Also, the movie The Wall is coming out. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those ones that are not going to be in big theaters, so I might have to look for it. And this is the unusual casting of John Cena and Aaron Taylor Johnson. John Cena, of course, is, the WWE wrestler that has turned actor. He was also in Trainwreck, and also in movies like The Marine and 12 rounds, I think it was. 12 hours, 12 rounds, anyhow, something like that. Anyhow, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's, the Kick-Ass movies, and he's also was in Godzilla, and just won a Nocturnal Creatures. He just won a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor in that. This is a war movie. It looks like it's based in, I want to say, Afghanistan, and it looks like it's about, two soldiers who get caught between a sniper and a wall, and it's called The Wall, and it looks really good. But I have a feeling we're going to look for this. There's actually a couple of war movies coming out this year, which is rare. You don't usually see them. And one is a really big one that we'll be talking about a little later. May 19th sees the return of the Alien franchise. Now, I think the Alien franchise hasn't been around in a long time because I know when Prometheus came out, it was billed as an Alien prequel. But there was so little about Alien. I have a feeling that Ridley Scott basically he started off as an Alien franchise, which got the studio excited, and then he got these other ideas and kind of lost place. This one definitely is the return of an Alien prequel. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm a little nervous because there's a lot of images that look like just a remake of the original Alien. Like even the lead actress is running around in a tank top and a hair that looks just like Ridley. I'm scared when they do prequels that are basically look like they're just trying to recapture the original movie. The good thing about this movie is it looks amazing, it looks scary, and it looks like a conglomeration of Alien and Aliens. Alien was a horror movie, where Aliens was an action movie, and this one seems to have got both of them. And it'll be interesting to see how well this does. Because the Alien franchise could certainly need a boost. Prometheus was a bit of a hit, but a lot of people were kind of hit and miss with it. So we'll see how it goes. For family fun, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul is coming out. I've never seen any of these movies. I wanted to see the first one, but I never got around to it. I don't know, this one looks absolutely kind of dreadful. They've definitely rebooted the franchise because I think the original Wimpy Kid's probably in his 40s now. Okay, maybe not that old. But anyhow, this looks like goofy, like vacation for kids. Little fart and poop jokes all the way through. I don't know, when I saw the original trailer, it looked like a fun little satire of growing up. I think these movies have just become kind of like throwaways now, and there's one there for you this summer. On May 25th, we get more satire coming our way in the form of Baywatch. Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron are in this one, and this one looks like it's definitely going for comedy. Looks like it's taking a page from the 21 Jump Street movies and going full on comedy. The trailers have been okay. I will definitely go to it. I like Dwayne Johnson and I love Zac Efron. I'm worried Zach's starting to do a little bit too many of these goofy comedies where he just uses his physique. So I'd really like to see him stretching himself as an actor because I actually think he can get there. I think he's shown little signs of it in Charlie, that movie with the brother. Oh, I can't remember it right now. Charlie something. And he also did The Lucky One. But Baywatch looks like it could be a lot of fun. And there's not a lot of really big name comedies coming out this summer, so Baywatch could do really well. On May 26th, a lot of you are looking forward to Pirates of the Caribbean. I can't remember what the thing is, but I believe this is the 5th in the series. I am not looking forward to this. I gave up on this series at number 2. I loved the first one, and I thought the second one was so bad it wasn't going to waste my time on any others. It looks like it's got a lot of new stories. Johnny Depp is back. Looks like Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley are going to be back. And I don't know, it looks like they're trying to find a way into the Fate of the Furious by starting to bring back old characters again and stuff. I think these movies look dreadful. If you're a fan of them, have fun with them. Another war movie coming out. But this one, the name of it is called War Machine. And it stars Brad Pitt. And it sounds like it might be a serious military thing, but it's not. It's actually a satire, kind of a political satire of the Afghanistan war. And I don't know. It might be different fare for the summer. I don't know how well it's going to translate. And for you music lovers, there's a documentary coming out on May 26th. Again, you'll be digging for this one. This will be small retro theaters, or you might be streaming it in the fall, called Long Strange Trip. It's a documentary produced by Martin Scorsese, and it's all about the journey of the Grateful Dead. And if you're a music fan, you might really want to check that one out. All right, now we move to the June movies, and we kick it off on June 2nd with a lady who has long been desperately in need for her own movie, and that's Wonder Woman. Now, we got to see a bit of her last year in Batman vs. Superman. Don't get me started on that one. I love the movie to bits. It was my favorite movie of last year. I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman. I don't know how well people are going to take to it. Everybody keeps saying they need more movies with female leads. Well, go check this one out, because the reason we don't get a lot of those movies is usually because when they release them, people don't go to them. I think Wonder Woman will have a lot of oomph to it. Of course, everybody's waiting to see if it's going to falter like some of the other DC movies that have come out, as in still make a lot of money, but people still won't like it. All of them have had their problems with critics and audience members, so let's see how Wonder Woman does. Not the only superhero coming out. Captain Underpants and his first epic movie also debuts. I don't know anything about this franchise. It could be all perfectly innocent. I've always kind of cringed when I heard the name of this. I know it was a popular series of books for kids, but I don't know. It seems like lowbrow entertainment. I could totally be wrong. I'm not going to go to it, but who knows? It might be to your liking. On June 9th, we see Tom Cruise return to the theater in The Mummy. They're rebooting The Mummy, but this looks like nothing we saw before. Definitely not the Universal movie from the 30s, and definitely not the Brendan Fraser series from the 90s, 2000s. This is hopefully going to be starting a Universal Monster universe, though honestly, I don't really need a universe for every movie that comes out. But anyhow, the Universal movie monsters, I think it'd be fun if they could tie them all together. This one actually looks really cool. It looks more Mission Impossible than it does anything that we've seen in the past from, the Brendan Fraser trilogy. But it looks kind of interesting and eerie, and Russell Crowe's in there, and he's supposed to be kind of the Nick Fury of the universe, and he'll tie them all together somehow. And to put people like Tom Cruise and stuff, this means they mean business. I think Dracula 2000, I think it was called, or Dracula 2000 AD or something. I think that was supposed to be part of this, but they're now kind of just saying, no, 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 that has nothing to do with this series anymore. And if you like monster movies, that same day, June 9th, comes at night. This is a kind of a zombie apocalypse movie. Yeah, I know, we have tons of them, TV, movies. But this one looks actually cool, and it stars Joel Edgerton, who is an actor I've become a fan of, thanks to movies like Warrior, and I can't think of any other movies he is, but I'm a fan of him, anyhow. And this is about a family who basically is hidden up in the mountains when this breaks out, and when a stranger shows up, they don't know whether they should be good people or not let them in, and I guess they take their chances, and all hell breaks loose. Looks like it could be interesting, and looks more of a horror film than the actual Mummy does, so this one might actually interest horror fans more. On June 16th, we start with Rough Night. Scarlett Johansson and Kate McKinnon and a whole bunch of female comedians that I do not have their names here, starring a movie about a bachelorette party that goes bad. It looks like it's a kind of fun little comedy, and then it kind of goes really dark when a male stripper dies. It'll be interesting to see if they can deal with that. There was a movie a while back. It's failing me right now. It was a Peter Berg movie, and Dirty Little Things or something like that. Anyhow, it's a similar premise, but this is with women, so it'll be interesting see if they can mix the dramatic story with the comedy in there. Cars 3 comes out. I can't believe we still don't have an Incredibles 2, but we have a Cars 3. Now, I don't think Pixar is behind this. I think Disney's now taken over this franchise, because they also technically did Jets, Planes, which is also part of the Cars universe. Cars 3, I didn't see the second one. I actually thought the first one was a little bit charming. I didn't think I'd like it at all, but when I finally saw it, I thought it was kind of charming. But this franchise is based totally on the fact that Cars sells them a lot, and Disney knows that, so they're just going to keep cranking them out. For music fans, if you're looking for a biopic, Straight Outta Compton was a surprise hit a couple of years back, or was that last year? Actually, it was last year, I think. Whatever. But anyhow, now the Tupac story. Tupac Shakur comes with All Eyes on Me. Looks like it could be a pretty interesting one. And what would the summer be without a shark movie? Last year we had The Shallows, which turned out to be a surprise little hit. And this year we have Mandy Moore and Claire Holt taking on sharks in a movie called 47 Meters Down. I have a feeling this isn't going to play in a lot of big theaters, but it is about two girls who take on a whole host of sharks. So I'm down with it if I can find it, but I have a feeling I won't. Because the theaters will be filled with this movie on June 23rd, Transformers: The Last Night. I left this franchise after Shia LaBeouf did, but this isn't going to stop it from making tons of money. The reason we keep getting Transformers movies is because people keep seeing it. And the last one with Mark Wahlberg made more than the other ones. So as long as they continue to increasing in money, they're going to keep making these movies. I hear people complain about how awful they are, how shit they are, but somebody must be enjoying them. So why not keep making them? But that doesn't mean I have to go see them. If you're looking for something hot this summer, that same day another movie opens called Beguiled. And I saw the trailer for this, and this actually looks pretty hot. It stars Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, Kirsten Dunst, and Elle Fanning. I think it's Elle Fanning of the Fanning. I think it's her. Anyhow, it's basically about a bunch of women who take in a civil... I think he's like a Civil War soldier during the time of the Civil War, and like a Confederate soldier, I want to say. And basically, I think he winds up kind of seducing all of them, and then they get their revenge on him. And to me, that sounds like a great steamy summer movie. I'm there. And it's a period piece, which is pretty daring to come out in the summer, but who knows? There's always those little movies that surprise, and this could be one of those movies that just plays, doesn't do the big numbers as like the Transformer movies, but it plays and plays and plays. One of the movies I am looking forward to most this summer, it was actually supposed to be an August release, but they have so much confidence in it, they moved it up to June 28th. It's a little movie called Baby Driver. It's directed by and written by Edgar Wright, who, has done some really great films like Scott Pilgrim versus the World and a couple other great films. This stars Ansel Elgort and a cast of thousands. Okay, I don't know about thousands, but some really great people. John Bernthal's in there. I am escaping everybody else who's in there, but you go watch this trailer. This looks like it's going to be a fun Tarantino meets Fast and the Furious. It just looks great. I love Ansel Elgort. I'd really like to see him in a big hit film. I can explain to you what it's about, but I think it's more fun to go watch the trailer because the trailers have been absolutely amazing for this movie. And finally, on June 30th, we get Despicable Me 3. I never saw the second one. I did like the first. Maybe I'll watch the second one when the third one comes out, and then I'll decide. The Minions kind of freak me off. I'm not a big fan of them. We also have Amityville: The Awakening, thanks to The Conjuring. Everybody wants to have a horror hit film, and since Don't Breathe became a surprise one, they're going back to the Amityville franchise for this one. Bella Thorne is in that movie. And finally, on June 30th, Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler will open The House, which is a comedy about basically not that far-fetched, about a family who decides to open up a casino in their basement in order to make money to send their daughter to university. And it looks like it might be a lot of fun, and I don't know, whenever I see Will Ferrell trailers, no matter how bad it looks, I always laugh through them. I don't know why. When I actually see the movies, I don't necessarily laugh as much, but he does know how to make trailers. Anyhow, that's your movie guide for May and June. A lot coming out. Not as many coming out in July and August, but a couple of big ones to talk about. And we're going to do that not in the next segment, in the following one. Because next segment is my Mondo Nostalgia, and I'm going to keep it movie-oriented, and I'm going to take a look at some of the classic movie houses that were in Hamilton through the 70s and 80s, because I can't remember the other ones. I was a little guy. I didn't go to them, but I know there used to be a time when there was movie houses all over the place before they were all replaced by multiplexes and cineplexes. And as much as they're wonderful to see movies in, I wish you knew. Maybe some of you do know. Maybe you're just as old as me or older and do remember the days when you could go to a big movie house where they'd play one or two films. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them when we come back on this summer movie preview 2017.
Good evening.
Hello, welcome back, and welcome to the summer movie preview 2017. And for any of you who regularly listen, you know I love movies. I don't actually just love movies, I love the movie experience. In fact, when I have a movie night here, I tend to make it a movie experience. I put cartoons, trailers, a little bit of anything in the front, the drive-in intermissions. As much as I love going to the cineplexes and the big famous player theaters and stuff, there was a time when Hamilton was just loaded with movie theaters. And now we don't have as many. Right now I can think of, we have the Mountain Silver City. We have the Ancaster Silver City, which is technically still part of Hamilton. We also have the Zoetic that plays retro movies once in a blue moon. We have the Westdale that is going to be closing for renovations pretty soon. And then they're going to reopen, and hopefully they're still going to stay a theater that plays non-mainstream films, because I've just started going back there, and I really hope that it stays that way. We also have Jackson Square that plays, they have 6 theaters there now, and the Jackson Square Cinema. And we also have like the Starlight Drive-In. We still luckily have a drive-in in our way. We also have Burlington Silver City, and there's a Brant Street Theater that plays slightly older movies that are very cheap that I've talked to you about in the past. But now we're going to go right into the past when we had the big movie houses. And let's see if your memory remembers this. We're going to kick this one off with my favorite theater of all time, the Tivoli. I remember seeing the Indiana Jones movies here, the Star Wars movies here. Pretty much this was the theater to go see things in. It was on James Street, and it's still sort of there. If you ever go to the art crawl or something, just near, I can't remember the street, but near Dr. Disc, there's actually a place where you'll see a big mural on the side. That is actually the theater of the Tivoli. They knocked down the Tivoli. I don't want to get into all the controversial stories because I've heard a lot of things. People tried to save it, and then, I don't want to get into all that because it makes me sad because the Tivoli was absolutely beautiful. And basically what happened is they had they played all the big movies, and it was just a beautiful movie house. It was just absolutely gorgeous. I remember it so well, and it was my favorite movie house. It was just glorious. This is what I think of when I think of big movie theaters. When I see the old movies and they go to these big grand where everybody dresses up. We had other theaters, but none of them were as classy as this one. And if I know people of a certain age when you mention the Tivoli. Now, as I said, where that mural is, that is actually supposed to be the preserved theater in there. There's always been talk about trying to rebuild it, but I don't know. With each passing year, it saddens me to think that half of it is still there and nothing's going to happen of it. I just expect to go to Art Crawl one time and it's just going to be gone. And that would be very, very sad. Another theater, the Odeon. It was on King Street, right by Mary Street. And the Odeon was 2 theaters. And I remember seeing movies as eclectic as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the Muppet movie, The Wiz, Smokey and the Bandit, Jaws. Though I didn't see Jaws in the theater, but I remember Jaws playing there. That was the first movie I remember playing there when we first came to Hamilton. It was a nice little theater. They had a huge theater, and then you'd go upstairs for the second theater. And I liked it because I believe they even had like a little snack bar up there too. I could be wrong about that. And it was just nice to go in, and you'd have the 2 layers of theaters. I used to be freaked out when I was a kid. I don't want to be. It was a tall theater, and I had afraid of heights, but I sometimes get reverse vertigo when I look up and something's there that creeps me out. And they used to have like these spindly silver letters that just said Odeon. And when I was a kid and I standed out there, I used to actually get vertigo. I don't know why. It's one of the only places. I could be standing next to Jackson Square and look up. I wouldn't get it. When I was a kid, something about those letters and the way it was, that thing. Maybe I was just creeped out because of the thing. The Century Theater just died a couple of years ago, and that was right across the street from the Odeon. There was a small little street there, and that's where the Century lived. The Century, I remember seeing movies like Superman, and I remember seeing Lethal Weapon movies there, and I remember seeing stuff like Outrageous Fortune and all the Touchstone movies like Three Men and a Baby and stuff like that. It was a great little theater. I don't remember a lot about it. I just remember it was just kind of tucked away, and I always remembered the first time going to it and almost couldn't find it because it was just so out of the way. It's sad that we lost it, but yeah, it was still a nice little theater. Just down the street from there was the Highland Theater, and yeah, that was a nice little theater too. It played a little schlockier films. Every once in a while they'd get like a big film, but mostly the big films went to the Odeon. And I remember seeing movies like Battlestar Galactica there. I remember the Highland actually had a balcony. I could only remember a couple theaters that had balconies. And although the Avon had a balcony, sometimes they'd close their balcony off, but the Highland did. I also remember seeing movies like a lot of teen jiggle films, like Secret Admirer from the 80s or Zapped. The Highland was just a great little theater. I always liked it. I remember going to see The Jerk there too. Or no, maybe The Jerk was at the Odeon. I can't remember. But the Highland was a great little theater too. I think a lot of people forget the Highland because it was just down. It was a one-off theater. There was only one theater in it, just like the Century was too. On Queenston, further down on Queens. No, it was not Queenston, Maine. On Maine, they used to have the theater called the Cinema. It was just called the Cinema, and it was just a couple of blocks before Kenilworth. And I used to love going there because this is where my dad took me to see all the Disney films. Yeah, this is where whenever they re-release Disney films like The Rescuers or Pinocchio or the Aristocats, or any of them, Lady and the Tramp, 100 Dalmatians, Snow White. I used to love going to this theater because back then they used to have promotional things, and I used to always buy them. I remember whenever a movie came out from Disney, Cinema would sell pictures, like nice size pictures, bigger than 8.5, 11, of like the cast of the movie. And you'd get like, ooh, the Rescuers were out. And I remember when The Rescuers made its debut and I went to go see it. And I got like all the characters, you know, Bianca and Bernard and Evinrude. This makes me just want to watch The Rescuers again. And I just remembered it was a great place. I know they also showed other movies there, horror movies, but whenever a Disney movie came, that was the place to go at the cinema. The Broadway was also downtown. It's still there. I believe, I don't know if anybody owns it. It might still be a Christian church that runs it now, but it's on King William, and it's just off, I want to say, Wellington, and you can still see it there. It's kind of sad to see it there. No offense to the church that took it, but this was a retro cinema. It was actually a porno palace. So was the Tivoli before. In the early 70s, the Tivoli was a porno palace too. But anyhow, we'll talk about that on another day. But anyhow, Broadway, I saw a lot of great old movies, and it was the first place I saw Rocky Horror. I saw movies like Gone with the Wind. I saw Alien for the first time in a theater there. I saw the Godfather series, Casablanca, Pink Flamingos. This was the theater that made me see so many of those incredible movies for the first time. Just so many of them, and I wish it was there still because I loved it. And I loved you'd get a little calendar, and they'd have, in each square would have what movies were playing, and there'd be different movies every night. Commercial festivals, they did, foreign films. It was just amazing. I just wish we had a theater like that again. I really hope the Westdale could be like that again, but I don't know if it will be. Up on the mountain where the Zoetic is now, that also, before the Zoetic, it was the Movie Palace, and before that was the York Cinema, and that's where I remember only going a few times, but I remember seeing Pippi Longstockings movies in there, and yeah, look them up, and they were always fun to see. I didn't get to go there all that often. The Westdale, of course, still is there, and recently was bought out, and they were said that they're going to try to bring it to its past glory. I just started going to the Westdale again. It's a great little theater. It's our only little one-screen theater, and it's a little rough. I admit, like when you see movies now, it's a little rough. The seats are really bad, but it's still such a beautiful, iconic place, and I can't wait. It's going to be hard when they close it for a bit, but when they reopen it, I just can't wait to see how wonderful it is. I just hope they don't turn it into like a playhouse or something. I want it to still show movies. Great little theater. You can still catch movies there. It's still open. They haven't closed it yet. On Ottawa Street, they have the Avon, and if you go down Ottawa Street, you'll actually still see the Avon sign. I love that they've kept it up. And when I go, it's an antique place now, and it's the place where I bought my speaker, so it's double memories for me. I spent a lot of the summers there. I saw Grease at the Avon, and I saw it multiple times there. And I saw movies like Meatballs and Blade Runner, I think. Grease 2 for sure. And it was just a great little theater. I love that it's still there. And you walk down and you can still see the balcony in the antique shop, and you can still see the stage. So, and you can tell the floor is slanted like most movie theaters were back in the day. And it's great to walk in there, and at least I'm still being a part of it. And to have all that old retro antique stuff in there makes it even more special. So visit the Avon sometimes when you're out on Ottawa Street. I don't remember going to the Delta too often. I think I went to it once. Basically around that area where the big Pizza is, where the actual Delta is, right by Gage Park. There used to be a little theater there, and they used to play double bills. And I think I may have gone to see Saturday Night Fever and some other movie, but it was the G-rated Saturday Night Fever because it was in a no, not G, PG. Gee, I would have loved to see that one. Saturday Night Fever was a restricted movie, but because John Travolta was such a star from Grease, they re-released it in theaters with a PG so more people could go see it. And I remember seeing it with another Paramount movie, but I can't remember what it was. And I think that's the only time I went to Delta as a theater. After that, it became a flea market, and I remember going there a few times, and it was just nice to remember that. Barton Street had the town that was around where I lived. It was by Lottridge, and the town used to have its sign out there, but I don't think it's there anymore. It was a great little theater. I didn't remember seeing a lot of movies there. I think I saw a Muppet movie there, and maybe a bad movie called Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen. It was a nice little theater that kind of showed movies that were kind of a little bit past. So it was a cheap theater, so I didn't think it was going to last too long. Just when I discovered it, it pretty much closed almost instantly. Jackson Square Cinema is still there. It has 6 theaters right now. When it first was around, back in my day, there was only 2 theaters. I remember seeing classics like Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Black Stallion and Little Darlings. And if you don't know what Little Darlings is, you should look it up because it's a hard movie to find. But a great old teen comedy about girls competing to see who loses their virginity first. Probably wouldn't get that movie made nowadays without getting like an X to it. But the Jackson Square Cinema, I kind of liked when it was 2 theaters, but I understand why they went to 6. And I can't complain about it. They have the reclining seats now. We certainly didn't have that in the original. Other malls that had theaters, Fiesta Mall. For any of you who don't know who that is, you must be too young because there's no more mall there. They knocked the mall down. That's in Stony Creek. And basically now there's Fortino's there. I think there's a Winners. That whole area was a mall at one time. And they had a little I want to say 4 cinema thing. I went a couple times. It was a quaint little theater. The theaters were really small, but it was kind of still a fun theater to go to. Burlington Mall had a theater. I think they had 3 cinemas, if I recall right. I could be wrong. And I remember seeing, like Private Benjamin there, and I remember seeing Christmas Vacation there. I wish they still had malls in theaters. I know they do still in other places, but for some reason it became a dying trend. Lime Ridge Mall, I believe they had 4 cinemas. And I used to like it. It was where the food court was. It was right at the corner. It was kind of away from the mall, but it was great to, you do some shopping and then you could just kind of have dinner at the thing and then, hey, let's go see a movie. And, I remember seeing lots of movies there. None of them are coming to mind what I saw at Lime Ridge, but it was a great little theater. And, I kind of wish they were still there. And finally, the Center Mall used to have a big theater, which I think had something like 8 cinemas in it. But before that, when Star Wars first came out, that was where I went to see it for the first time. And there was only 2 theaters. I remember seeing Back to the Future there, tons of movies. And it was 2 theaters, and then they kind of played with it. And then it became 8 theaters, and then eventually it became the Delta Bingo. Now that's all gone. they've been petitioning for ages to get some more theaters back down there, because a lot of people, think that there's no theaters in that area, which there isn't. And it's a really good location for a movie theater. And I never understood why the Center Mall was knocked down, because it was always packed. When it was the 2 theaters, it was always packed. When it was the 6 theaters, it was always packed. So I think it was 8 theaters, and it was always packed. So I never understood that. We also had 3 drive-ins. We had the Clapperson drive-in, which was right at the top of Clapperson Corners. Wonderful little drive-in that we used to have. Up in Stone Church, we had the Hamilton drive-in. I remember working with a lady, Sharon Kozak, who told me she lived right across the street from it, and she loved sitting out on her porch and seeing all the cars lining up to see the movie. And Starlight Drive-In, which is just by me. It's literally a 10-minute drive. If you go through any of my past podcasts, I talk about it quite a lot. My nephew Jonathan has lovingly taken me back there again, and we still have the Starlight. It's now 3 theaters. It used to be only 1. When they built 3 a couple of years ago, it just gave me hope that this is actually going to stick around. Whenever I go there, it's packed, so let's hope and pray it sticks around. I may have forgotten 1 or 2, but these were the theaters that I grew up with. Look how many there were, because they'd only show 1 movie, and they were so unique and different. And although I get the love of the Silver Cities and the multiplexes, they just don't have the same character. And unfortunately, as we get older, our love for movies are kind of dwindling. Basically, we just want to get in, get out, where before it was more of a social experience, waiting in line for movies where we talk to our friends and talk about what's going to be in the movie. Now we just go online, see what's going. We can still talk about the movie, but we do that on the drive home or the drive back. But I remember standing in line, and you're in there, with all these people, and just loving, waiting to go in to see them. And I miss the old movie things. I wish they'd return. I don't think they ever will. But a boy can dream, can he? Anyhow, we're going to wrap up our summer movie preview as we get back to look at the movies of July and August. And even though there's not a lot of them, there are some big ones that I'm looking forward to, and I bet you are too. Thank you for joining us for the Summer Movie Preview 2017. I love this time of year. Now, I love movies all year round, but there's something about the summer blockbusters that always get me excited. Even though they sometimes let me down at times, sometimes they don't. And when they work, they work. And I just love the buzz of the movies and the trailers and stuff. Yeah, I love movies that come out all over the year, but I don't know, there's something about the summer movie season that just gets me crazy. And so let's get crazy with some of these other movies. I mentioned that Guardians of the Galaxy will probably be the big hit movie of the summer, but I said there would be one movie that could beat it. And only one movie in my eyes, unless something really comes out that shocks me, and that is July 7th with the premiere of Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man made his debut in Captain America Civil War last year, and Tom Holland blew everybody away. His very young portrayal of Peter Parker and Spider-Man just was apparently what everybody's been waiting for, and the trailers for this movie look phenomenal. Now, I admit, I once actually said that when Spider-Man comes back to the Marvel Universe, that is when the movie universe is going to start falling. I kind of want to go back on that a little bit, because now that I've seen the trailers, this movie looks phenomenal. Now, I never originally thought Spider-Man himself was going to kill the series. I just thought there was something, because they were so desperate to get Spider-Man back, I just thought there was something that was going to create something that was going to... And although the Marvel movies continue to go strong, there has to be a point where people are going to get fatigued. I already talked about people, and if you look in this summer alone, we've got several superhero movies coming out. There used to be a time we used to maybe every couple of years we'd get one, and then it became every year, and then we get like 2 a year. We've got 3 coming out this summer with Guardians, Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man. And I think this movie's going to do really well. But I just think we're going to get fatigued from superhero movies at some point. And they'll find a way to blame the DC universe for it. But Marvel has not had a clinker, in my opinion, yet. This movie looks phenomenal. Michael Keaton looks great. Tony Stark's in this. Looks like he's going to be in it a little bit more than people thought. And Tom Holland just looks amazing as Spider-Man. He looks like the Amazing Spider-Man. I made a joke there without planning it. I think it's going to be a terrific movie. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's in a good spot because a lot of the other big blockbusters are past. But there is still a couple other ones. Another one I'm looking forward to comes out on July 14th. It's The War of the Planet of the Apes. I avoided the first, I believe it was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Rise. I think it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I actually avoided that in theaters because I saw the Tim Burton one. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And I'm only a moderate fan of the classic Planet of the Apes series. But when I finally saw it somebody lent me a DVD, I effing loved it. I thought it was great. And I thought it was amazing. The CGI was incredible. The story was incredible. And so I went to the theater to see the second one, which I believe is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And I loved it even more. If you told me one of the most anticipated movies of the year a couple of years ago would be Planet of the Apes, I would tell you you're crazy. But I'm in for this series. The first 2 were amazing. This one looks spectacular. And it, again, has a lot of CGI apes in it, and they look phenomenal. And it also has Woody Harrelson in it, and he always brings his A game. So War of the Planet of the Apes will make its debut on July 14th, and I am already, there in spirit. I can't wait to check this out. The big war movie coming out is on July 21st. It's Dunkirk, and it's a movie based on one of the pinnacle moments of the World War II. It was a very intricate moment and involves the British Army, I believe. Don't yell at me if I'm wrong. And it's done by Christopher Nolan. And Christopher Nolan is the reason why this is so anticipated. It's very daring to release a big-scale war movie. Now, war movies can do really well. Fury has done well. Hacksaw Ridge did pretty good. But to release one right in the bulk of summer when you've got Transformers, you've got apes, you've got Spider-Man, it's daring. But Christopher Nolan does, he's proven so many hit movies. The Dark Knight series, Interstellar did pretty good. I can't think of that other one about the dreams. Anyhow, so he wants it in the summer. He's getting it in the summer. This stars Tom Hardy, and it just looks amazing. And I look forward to seeing this one. A smaller movie coming out that looks pretty interesting is First Kill. It stars Hayden Christensen. And I know he's not exactly a household name, but since his Anakin Skywalker days, he's actually done some smaller films that have been actually pretty good. I remember he did a movie called Takers that I thought was actually pretty good, and he was a supporting role in that. And an amazing little movie. And he's not really taken his acting career seriously, like he just shows up once in a while. This one actually looks pretty good. It looks kind of like a Liam Neeson kind of movie, where basically everything bad happens to him and he has to rescue somebody who gets kidnapped. But Hayden Christensen is just a mild-mannered family man, and it looks like he's taking that kind of role. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna check it out. Of course, I have a feeling this might be a movie that might disappear. We won't even get to see it. And then another big science fiction, which I want to give this movie a chance because it looks phenomenal. I remember going to a 3D movie, and this trailer came up in 3D, and I was just mind blown by it. It's a movie called Valerian and the City of the Planets. I think it's based on a book series. I could be wrong. It looks spectacular, but when I see big name science fiction movies like this that don't have any really big stars in it and also look like it's heavy on special effects, I start getting leery. And to me, I can't help but think this looks like it's going to become a big bomb. I really hope it isn't, because I think it'd be nice to see something fresh. Like a lot of these movies are this summer are like either sequels or properties we've heard of. This is not something I'm familiar with. And it's nice when a big breakout movie like that comes out. I would like to say it will be this one, but you never know. It could be a surprise, but to me it looks like it might have a little bit of trouble. But we will wait and see and judge it when it comes out. And I think I'll go to it because there's not a lot for me coming out. On July 28th, we have Atomic Blonde. Nobody was talking about this movie, and then they released a trailer just recently, and it looked really good. It looks like Charlize Theron kicking some major ass in this movie. Looks like it could be kind of a Bourne Identity kind of movie. It also stars James McAvoy in it. It looks phenomenal. Yeah, if you haven't checked out the trailer, check out the trailer because it really looks good. Charlize Theron is one of the best parts of Fate of the Furious. I like her. She never mails it in. She was the thing I liked most about Prometheus. So much I hated about that movie, but she was actually one of my favorite bits in it. She always brings it, so to see her in an action-packed film, this one could be a surprise hit too because it's away from all the big action films. So this could actually sneak by and become a surprise hit because August they really decided we're not putting too much into it. And and that means we could get some surprises in August, and this could be one of them. It comes out July 28th and could sneak away with a surprise hit on it. Sadly, this other movie could become a surprise hit. It's the Emoji Movie. If you haven't seen enough kids movies yet, you might want to take your kids to see this movie that's basically about computer emojis. I can't get excited about this movie or even the emoji of being excited. Not seen a trailer, not interested in this in the least. I know I should give it a chance because other movies have surprised me, like Sausage Party and Lego Movie. It's just, I don't know. To me, this is pandering again to the lowest common denominator. Could turn out to be a phenomenal hit. Not a lot of kids' movies out there, so I have a feeling parents are going to schlep their kids to this and say, hey, it wasn't too bad, because I'm starting to see a trend where it doesn't matter what animated film parents see, it's never too bad. Some of these have to be bad. You can't tell me. So if you're interested in the Emoji Movie, mark your calendar for July 28th. Put a little happy face if you dare. As I said, August, they've always kind of... See, August, the reason why August doesn't do well is because basically kids are starting to think about going back to school. College kids are already getting ready. Some of them are even starting early admissions and stuff. It's the last month, so a lot of families are planning their last-minute trips. And so they're basically not only getting prepared for school, but they're doing everything they want to do. Like, oh my God, let's get to the water park. Let's do this, let's do that. And so sometimes movies fall flat here. This year, it doesn't even look like they've tried to put anything in. I literally have 4 movies marked, and I think I've heard of one of them. And again, this could turn out to be a surprise hit for something. Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe, was released in early August and became a smash hit. And now it's, being dubbed as like the movie of the summer already. And it, doesn't even come out yet. But anyhow, let's see what's coming up. August 4th brings The Dark Tower. This is the Stephen King novel come to life with Adrian, I can never say his name, Albia, I didn't write it down either, so it's not going to help. Anyhow, Adrian Albus could be it. Or Adrian Albus, something like that. Anyhow, he is versus Matthew McConaughey in this Western. So let's see how a Western does in August. And yeah, I should know that guy's name. He's an incredible actor. He's been in lots of great movies that are escaping me right now. August 18th sees Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. Thank God. I thought we were going to go all summer without seeing a Samuel L. Jackson. I thought he'd probably show up in Spider-Man somewhere, but good Lord, thank God, he's in something, because I was starting to think he was slacking in his movies. Hitman's Bodyguard comes out. Ryan Reynolds is the bodyguard. Samuel L. Jackson is the hitman, and yeah, this is an action-packed movie. I have a feeling they don't have a lot of faith in it. That's why they're pushing it way back into August. So I don't know how well this will do. August 18th also shows Logan Lucky. This is a movie that stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, and Riley Keough. I really like this movie. I haven't heard anything about it. I think at this point, when the summer movie starts, I should have at least been seen a trailer or heard something about it, especially me being a big Channing Tatum fan. Sadly, nothing. I'm going to actually look this up and see if there's a trailer for it. Who knows? This could be a surprise hit. I love all those people. I love Channing Tatum. I love Adam Driver. He's probably my favorite part of Force Awakens. And Riley Keough I've become a fan of too, from movies like American Honey, and I believe she was in that. So Logan Lucky, a Channing Tatum movie. I don't even know when he filmed this. I never even heard anything about this. Might be interesting. The only movie I have heard about is August 25th, Death Note. This is a Japanese manga come to life, and if I screwed that up, I apologize. I saw the trailer for this, and it looks pretty good. I don't know what to say about it. It looks like kind of a horror film. I didn't know it was a Japanese manga, but the trailer looks amazing, and it's one of those trailers where you never hear anything about this movie, then you watch the trailer, and the next thing you know, it's on your list of things to see. Because it's coming out so close to Labor Day, I honestly want to say, because it probably costs so less to make, because there's not a lot of big names in this, that I have a feeling that they're hoping this is going to just be one of those surprise hits. And it'd be nice, because the buzz on it is pretty good. And when you have movies that are coming out in August that nobody's heard of, the fact that this movie has some buzz could actually help it at the box office. Well, believe it or not, that's the movies. Now, there's a ton of other movies that you can explore. You can always check the computer and look at other ones. There's a whole bunch of smaller independent films. I concentrate mostly on the bigger name films, though I did throw in a couple that I probably won't get to see until they hit DVD or anything like that. The reason why is because sometimes we just don't get a chance with them. It looks like it's going to be an interesting summer. I told you some of the ones I'm looking forward to. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Alien, definitely, probably Baywatch. I wouldn't put it as really want to see, but I'll probably get some jollies from just seeing Zac Efron and shirtless scenes. Wonder Woman, I'm basically looking forward to. I'm very curious about The Mummy. Baby Driver is up there. Go see that trailer. Watch that trailer if you haven't seen it. I want to kind of put it on in the show. It's so good. It's so good. Let's see, what else am I looking forward to? Spider-Man Homecoming. Tom Holland looks absolutely incredible. He's such a cutie. War of the Planet of the Apes, definitely. Dunkirk, I am definitely going to see this with my war movie buddy, Damien. I really hope that he's sitting next to me when we see this movie. And, yeah, we'll even throw Death Note on there, because we have to have something to look forward to in August. And as I said, there might be some surprises too, those little movies that sneak in that we never hear about, or they might throw in at the last minute. I hope you checked all the movies you want to see this year, or if you didn't, you can go back and re-listen to this and check it out. Remember to be kind when you're at the theater. No texting, no talking, no kicking chairs. It's just annoying, and it's sad that we're losing the movie experience. And Yes, that's some people might say, well, that's part of the movie experience, but it's a part that nobody really likes. I've seen movies recently where people just talk constantly through, where you have to basically tell them to please be quiet, or kids, or anything like that. And I can see why people are more and more streaming, but or watching it on Netflix or anything like that. But I still like going to the theaters. I still like that thing. I can't wait to see what movies are my favorites at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, even. As always, I'm going to do my monthly ones. I used to break it down by the end of the seasons, but no more of that. I'll go a little more in depth in my reviews, so you will definitely be getting reviews from about Guardians coming up at the end of the month, possibly King Arthur, Alien, maybe even Baywatch. Depends when I get to see these movies and when this absolutely airs. I've had a great time. I'm actually anxious to go watch some movies. Maybe since I got a whole bunch of new ones coming up this summer, maybe I'll check out Rescuers or some of those older movies I mentioned, or maybe some of the prequels or the sequels of the movies coming out this summer. Can always talk me into Guardians again or any of the Alien films. Maybe not the fourth one though, because I didn't like that at all, and I really don't ever want to see Prometheus again. Maybe just quick bits, the best bits. And trust me, I didn't see a lot of them. So whatever you do tonight, make it a movie night. And I hope you got you excited for the summer 2017. It's right here. It's going to be starting very, very shortly, and you go out there and have some fun. And if you're one of those people that don't go to the movies and are just going to wait till it comes on your own private TV, well, you'll be seeing most of these coming out in the fall and early winter because they don't take long to come out anymore. Anyhow, I had a great time. We'll have a regular show back again. I'm hoping to have a co-host in with me. It seems like forever since I've had a co-host. And I'll be talking to you very, very soon.